Imagine, you're trapped inside a room. No doors, no windows. The air starts to feel hot. And in the corner of the room, there's a knife hanging from the ceiling. You don't know why you're here. But one thing is certain. Someone is watching you. Sounds like a scene from Saw. But this is not just a movie. This is reality. A man named H.H. Holmes did this over 100 years ago. And this real-life story is far worse than any movie. Holmes was born as Herman Webster Mudgett in 1861 in a small town in New Hampshire. From a young age, he showed disturbing signs. He enjoyed torturing animals, manipulating people, and had a strange obsession with human anatomy. As a child, he would sometimes force other children to accompany him on experiments where he would manipulate or dissect small creatures, testing their limits. When he entered medical school, he expanded his dark interests. He learned how to dissect cadavers and began doing something even more horrific, defrauding insurance companies with fake corpses. But that was just the beginning of his twisted journey. When the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago was about to start, Holmes saw a huge opportunity. The city was booming, and thousands of visitors were arriving. He built a 3-story hotel known as the Murder Castle, but this was no ordinary hotel. It was designed to be a death trap. There were secret passages leading to torture chambers, trapdoors that would send victims straight to the basement, a gas chamber that could silently kill people without them ever knowing. The floors were filled with rooms designed for murder, some with soundproof walls, others with doors that would lock automatically, trapping anyone inside. Holmes would lead his unsuspecting guests through these maze-like corridors where they would be taken to their rooms and never seen again. Holmes trapped dozens of hotel guests inside, then killed them in horrific ways. Many victims were women, some lured by promises of work or lodging. Others were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Holmes would experiment on some of them, or torturing them before finishing them off. His hotel was a nightmare, and no one even suspected it. And this is what makes him so similar to a character from Saw. If you've ever watched Saw, you surely know Jigsaw, the killer who loves setting up deadly traps. Holmes did the same. But the difference is, this is not a movie. This is real. In Saw, Jigsaw puts his victims into sadistic games where they must choose, die quickly or suffer slowly. Holmes, he built a trap hotel where the victims didn't even know they were walking into a trap. Some were suffocated with gas, others drowned, some burned alive in secret chambers. Jigsaw uses torturous devices. Holmes also had special rooms designed to torture his victims before ending their lives. The difference? Holmes had no intention of giving his victims any chance to survive. It was a one-way ticket to death. So, is it possible that Saw was actually inspired by the real-life story of H.H. Holmes? Holmes was able to escape suspicion for a long time. He carefully covered his tracks, but eventually, his crimes caught up with him. The authorities finally began investigating the hotel when it was discovered that Holmes had been involved in several insurance fraud schemes. When they entered the hotel, they found the most disturbing evidence: human skeletons scattered throughout the building, soundproof rooms that were designed to keep the screams of victims unheard, scratch marks on the walls where victims tried to escape. Holmes had even conducted evil experiments, dissecting his victims, sometimes even alive, to further his sick interests in human anatomy. The more police investigated, the darker the truth became. They realized that Holmes had been committing these atrocities for years, and his hotel was a murder factory, a place where he would lure victims, torture them, and dispose of them without a trace. In 1896, Holmes was finally caught. He was convicted for the murders of several victims, though it's believed the actual number may have been much higher. Before his execution, he said,
"To me, just being dead ain't enough to stop me from killing again."
Now, the question is, have all of his victims been found? Or are there more out there that were never uncovered? The scale of his crime suggests there could still be hidden victims, buried in the darkness of history. And even more chilling, is it possible there are still Holmes out there in the world today? Is it possible that someone else is hiding in plain sight, continuing the same terrifying work?